And they did exactly that.
A gain of 3, 2nd down. The defensive crew for the Texans. Here's a look.
When I watch Brian Cushing play, sometimes I feel like he's playing in the wrong era. Brian Cushing wanted to be back there when the men were men and just mixing it up. This guy lives to find ball carriers.
And Matthews has it right side. And he'll be brought down right around the 37. 5 yards on the pickup, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down.
When you see zone defense and you know you've got a drag route on as your primary call, you've got to be really careful as a passer about how far you let your guy go because he might wander into some tough coverage.
9 yards on the play and a 1st down.
Would it be safe to say that as precise as routes are supposed to be run in the NFL, maybe they're not quite as precise in college ball?
That's accurate, yeah.
And I think we saw a college route in the NFL there. Just find the soft spot, find the dead zone, and find the 1st down. And that's what he just did.
So the incomplete pass brings up 2nd down. Now a give. This is Murray. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. They get 6 here after the incompletion, and it'll leave them with a 3rd and 4. Here comes the 7th play of this opening drive. They've moved it well, but here's 3rd down. Now it's Luck. Looking middle, and that's complete. And he'll be taken down, but not before getting this inside the 30. And the pocket's been protected pretty good here so far on the opening drive.
We always talk about confidence in runners and catchers and quarterbacks. How about the protection detail? They're not allowing anyone near the guy throwing the football.
And got his tight end, Duarte. 15 yards through the air and a 1st down. And how about this first drive? They're being aggressive, slinging it around.
Really confident, too, because they're not trying to fool them with running plays, throwing it, and they're being very...
And he fires one that's intercepted. A great read, and it's picked off. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back. And he may want to track down that football because that's interception number 1 on his career.
You're saying that's going into the trophy case?
I'd put it there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's when you ask the equipment guys to make sure they hold it for you after the game. But if you play in the back 7 on defense, that's part of your job, finding ways to take the ball away from the other team.
This is the running back, Blue. And this defense feeling the encouragement. They stop him at the line of scrimmage on the first play of the afternoon. Offensive starters here. Wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, a talented wide receiver.
And he's still looking for that ultimate recognition. He wants to be mentioned with the best receivers in the game. His numbers suggest that we should do so.
They run with Blue. And nowhere for him to go again. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. It's Patrick Robinson there on the stop. And now a look at the defense for the Colts.
Antonio Cromartie is a fast, lengthy cornerback. Very difficult to get passes over his head in his area.
And on 3rd down, the Colts have added an extra defensive back.
Flooding the passing lanes.
And he's got the completion to Hopkins. That one goes for 13 yards, and it moves the sticks.
I don't care how many times we see it. I still get a kick out of watching quarterbacks and receivers do the pass tree in pregame warm-up. But I always remember that when we go to practices, we see that after practice.
Now the ball's out. Osweiler lost it. And they are going to score on the fumble return. Touchdown, Indianapolis. Huge play by the defense, not only to force the fumble, obviously, but to return it for a touchdown.
And I know it's no fun for anyone who plays offense, but isn't it fun to see how a defense rallies when there's a fumble return and everyone tries to find someone to block and bring it all the way home?
I always like their celebrations because they don't get there that often.
No, they're not choreographed very well usually.
This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And the decision to come out is going to cost him 5 yards with a new rule as he's taken down right at the 20-yard line. Out comes the Houston offense as they get set to take over here. After the interception, here's Osweiler. They'll try and set up the screen. It's complete. And he was able to shed the tackle, but the reserves come in for the stop.
For a second there, I thought that might break big. Screen pass. Looked like it was coming together. Looked like there was an opening. Still, ended up with a solid game.
They'll put 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. They go play action now. Osweiler. They'll roll him out right. And his throw is incomplete. Will Fuller was the intended target. And now it's 3rd down. So 3rd and medium here, 3rd and 5. They go play action with Osweiler. And he finds Harry Douglas. And they're going to get this one all the way out across the 45. And that's one of his advantages of a passer, is it not? With his height, setting back there in the pocket, firing it over the middle, he can really see everything clearly.
It is, and I know that other quarterbacks get it done different ways, all right? You don't have to be his height to make a great play, but what he does is he takes away having to make those slide steps in the pocket to find angles to throw the ball through. He just throws right over the top of it because he can see everything, and sometimes that saves time and gets the ball to a receiver quicker.
Play action. Now Osweiler. He hits the first-year man, Will Fuller. And he's brought down after a good gain. A good pick up there of 20 yards.
That crossing route is so effective when you hit it just right because you get a guy on the move, and then we see the end result there.
It's a nightmare for the defense. They got a guy with a full head of steam.
Not only does he catch it, but he picks up additional yardage after it.
He'll buy some time right. On the run, he'll let this go deep right side. They were trying to get the connection with a former Buckeye, Braxton Miller. And it's 2nd down.
In this situation, it's really tough to figure out how to defend because they have plenty of room to still take deep shots at the end zone as they just did there. Yet at the same time, you've got to be ready for the short throw. In this case, when you see the cue that they're going for the end zone, retreat and make sure you have a way to play forward, back towards the receiver, and have a chance to bat the ball away as they did there.
Oh, it's a screen pass. That's complete. And he'll be a little shy of the 25 here at the 26-yard line. They'll give him 8 on the play, and that'll make it 3rd down. Well, clearly one of his advantages as a passer is his height. Sit back and now here's a timeout called by the Colts on the defensive side of the ball. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this first quarter. Trying to keep the drive going here. This is play number 7 on 3rd and 2.
Here we go now.
Osweiler now to throw on 3rd down. He finds his target, Fuller. And they do get him down, but he's inside the 5 all the way to the 3.
And Brandon, from our time in college football, where receivers weren't running the traditional NFL route tree, one thing they did learn, find open areas, find soft spots, and set up and catch the ball. And I think we just saw that there.
Yeah, we saw that indeed, picking up the first. On the carry, this is Blue. And he's in for the score. Touchdown, Texans. Alfred Blue, his 3rd touchdown now on the year. And the Texans are an extra point away from tying this football game. So we're right back where we started, all even as the kick's away. This fielded a few yards into the end zone. And he probably should have stayed in the end zone as he'll muster a return up to only the 14-yard line. And now Indianapolis set to take the field. And the interception thrown in the red zone last time. We'll see if they can rebound.
I just have to think the last thing he said as they went back out there was, don't do that again. What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that. I think that not only did he say that, but he also told him, let's put it in the end zone that it's supposed to be in, all right? The end zone we're trying to score. I know we're...
Now whistles come in. We're going to get a timeout here by the offense. And that's their 2nd charge timeout here in this first quarter. They're down to 1 remaining. Offense comes to the line now, 1st and 10. On 1st down, Luck. And it pops free. The collision there jarred the ball loose and brings up 2nd down.
We know it's not an easy job to go out and catch passes when people are trying to tackle you and knock the ball away. But the bottom line is, that's a pass he's got to have and a pass he should have caught.
They'll put 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Here's Luck. And this time he's got the hook up. It's complete. Now hold everything here. We're going to get a timeout by the offense. And my goodness, they're now out of timeouts here in this first quarter. Trying to get one more in here before the quarter breaks. They come up in an empty set. 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Luck. And he couldn't hang on to it through the contact. Incomplete.
Today's NFL, these big guys are featured receivers. They move them all over the place to try and find good matchups, and they had one. They were just unable to complete the pass.
And this is going to hit the goal line and continue on into the end zone for a touchback. With Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin, and it's Texans football as we get going at quarter number.
Call it, Babe Ruth ball it. Your boyfriend's got a cauliflower and I'm so sue me. Who you, Judge Judy? Stacking the